1,200 years ago, in the hills of western India, someone looked at a mountain of solid volcanic rock and decided it was a temple. Not let's build a temple from this stone. No, the temple was already inside the mountain. They just had to remove everything that wasn't. What you're looking at was never built. Not one block was placed on another. It was carved, top to bottom, out of a single piece of rock, and engineers still argue about how. This is Kailasa. And by the end of this video, you'll know more about it than the internet's favorite theories do. Kailasa is the crown jewel of the Ellora caves in Maharashtra. 34 temples and monasteries cut into a basalt cliff by Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain hands across 4 centuries. But Cave 16 is different. It isn't a cave at all. It's a complete, freestanding temple complex. Courtyard, gateway, shrines, bridges, a tower 10 stories of carved stone high, with a footprint roughly twice the size of the Parthenon's. All of it, one single, continuous piece of the mountain. And here's the detail that breaks people's brains. It was carved from the top down. Builders everywhere else on Earth start at the ground and go up. The Kailasa workers climbed the hill, marked out 3 colossal trenches, and started digging down, freeing a mountain-sized block, then sculpting it as they descended. No scaffolding to raise. No stones to lift. Also, no second chances. One wrong cut into solid rock, and there's no patching it. Every strike of the chisel was permanent. The numbers are absurd. Archaeologists estimate somewhere between 2 and 400,000 tons of basalt were removed, with iron chisels and hammers. If the core work really took about 2 decades, as many scholars estimate, workers were clearing dozens of tons of rock every single day, for years, without a single machine. Naturally, a story grew around it. A medieval text tells of a king deathly ill, and a queen who vowed to Shiva that she would not eat until she saw the finished temple's crown. The king recovered, but a temple takes decades, and the queen was starving. Then the architect Kailasa stepped forward with a masterstroke. He would carve the temple from the top. The crown, the shikara, would be finished first, in days. The queen saw it, broke her fast, and the mountain kept being carved beneath it for a generation. Legend? Almost certainly. But notice, the legend exists to explain a real engineering decision that still puzzles visitors today. The name is the mission statement. Mount Kailash, in the Himalayas, is Shiva's home in Hindu tradition, a peak so sacred it has never been climbed. This temple is its earthly replica. And it gets better. Traces of white lime plaster show the entire monument was once coated white, a snow-capped Himalayan peak, shining out of the black Deccan rock. Inside is one of the most celebrated sculptures in all of India. The demon king, Ravana, trapped beneath Mount Kailash, straining with all 20 arms to tear it, while above Shiva calmly presses it down with a single toe, and Parvati leans away, unbothered. The temple's builders put an earthquake into stone. Art historians still marvel at how the composition seems to tremble. It's a flex inside a flex. A carved mountain, containing a carving about the mountain being unshakable. Centuries later, tradition holds that the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb ordered Kailasa destroyed. Accounts describe 1,000 workers attacking it for 3 years and giving up. You can still see defaced figures here and there. But destroying Kailasa turned out to be nearly as hard as building it. It has no joints to pry apart, no blocks to topple. You cannot demolish a mountain sculpture without demolishing the mountain. So a 10-story temple carved downward out of living rock in maybe 20 years, with hand tools, 12 centuries ago. The internet has an answer for this, and you've probably heard it. Humans couldn't have done it. Aliens, lost super civilizations, ancient power tools. It's one of the most cited impossible structures on Earth. Well, let's ruin that theory. Because the real answer is carved into the same cliff, right next door. Kailasa didn't appear from nowhere. India had been carving architecture out of living rock for 1,000 years before it. From the mirror-polished Barabar caves of the 3rd century BCE, through the painted halls of Ajanta, to dozens of earlier caves at Ellora itself. Generations of families of stonecutters, refining one craft on one kind of rock. Kailasa isn't an anomaly. It's a final exam. And here's the beautiful part. The how is documented in stone. Ellora and nearby sites are full of unfinished caves abandoned mid-carve. Frozen construction sites. You can walk through every stage, the rough trench, the blocked-out pillars, the half-freed elephant. Archaeologists can literally read the workflow off the walls, including the chisel marks, which match iron tools of the period. No mystery machine ever left a trace. Hammers and chisels left millions. The method, reconstructed. Cut 3 deep trenches into the hillside to isolate a colossal block. Work downward in horizontal stages. The crown first, then each story beneath. So finished work is never under falling debris, and the rock itself is your scaffold. Basalt helps. Volcanic stone that's workable when being cut but weathers hard. Top down wasn't showing off. On this material, at this scale, it was the smart way. Who did it? Inscriptions and dating point to the Rashtrakuta Empire, with the main push under King Krishna I in the 700s CE, and additions likely spanning generations. Picture the workforce. Quarrymen breaking rock, haulers clearing it, master sculptors following behind. A supply chain of skill, funded by an empire at its peak. Not slaves of legend, but paid, organized, elite craftsmen. Their names are mostly lost. Their fingerprints, the chisel lines, are everywhere. Now, honesty time, because that's how we do things here. There are real open questions. No construction records survive. The 20-year figure is an estimate, and some scholars argue the work spans a century or more across multiple kings. Exactly how many workers? Unknown. And that viral claim about a sealed underground city beneath Kailasa? No excavation has ever found it. It grew out of misread photos of drainage channels. The genuine mysteries are human ones: logistics, planning, and how the full design was held together across generations, on a monument where nothing could be uncarved. And that's what the alien theory gets exactly backwards. It says, this is too great for humans. But strip the mystery away and what's left is greater. People with hand tools looked at a mountain and out-stubborned it. The temple isn't evidence that ancient India had impossible technology. It's evidence that mastery, patience, and 1,000 years of inherited skill are a technology, one we've half forgotten. So, a temple carved downward out of a mountain, a queen's impossible vow, an emperor who couldn't knock it down, and the quiet answer written in chisel marks next door. If you ever stand in that courtyard, remember, every surface you see was once the inside of a mountain. What should we decode next? Tell us in the comments, and if you like impossible ancient places, watch our video on Dwarka, the golden city the ocean swallowed. Subscribe, and see you in the next one.